time. All those pieces, all those pieces in the I don't think it's I'm reading the best level in town. The 3 levels in town, at some point you're going to make some choices about what you want that one piece to look like, what you want on traditional conceptual. Clearly that mixing these two guys to do makes us not so try to do.
What's interesting to me is that these are very strong and block-like.
Yeah.
You can tell the area that each one lives in. You know what I mean? This one lives in a square.
Yeah.
This one lives in a little rectangle. So that then, when you do this with your type, this goes around the corner and your type goes around the corner, that feels better to me than this. Because this doesn't have anything to do with that. And yet everything is occupying its own little area next to another area so that it's starting to build a place. And this avoids the whole thing. And so does this one. But if you look at this one, where this lines up with this, and this lines up with that, and you didn't quite get this type that is blocks, then that should say to you in your head, blocks. What can I do with blocks, right? Because that's what he's thought about, is what can you do with blocks? Where can you go? And you can lead people with the blocks of text as well as with the blocks of type. You can build a place with it. I like your planet made out of garbage. It's floating there. So I think you could work with that more. And as I said before, I would like to have seen this image relate to this type. This type is just floating here. So that's a general problem in your work.
I concur with everything you just said.
I'll teach type.
No, I think that's a powerful work. I think one of the impressions of your work is that it's very accessible. You know, from the first moment I looked at it, there is a certain joy in just really being able to get it real quick.
There's a nice living cafe and stuff.
I wrote all these things down, but I'll just review them. I think that still your presentation looks, the feeling of it is good. I think your work is improving. I still think you have, and I see the same thing occurring, for instance, with your announcement, which does have a kind of interesting concept in here with the cover, which is very, clunk. You could have gotten this at copy clunk. And so there are places in your typography where scale, the size of the type, and definitely the integration of the type with the image is totally missing. Right now, I feel that you're seeing an image and then typography, because all of us were trained, we're trained to think that way. But one of the things that these typographers apparently are doing, in addition to designing letter form, they look like they're part of the new school that likes the layering of imagery, which you're starting to do with your bottom row of photographs. A style that is exciting to you because they don't have it back. Another thing is that the thesis has to prove something, true or not true, and I didn't hear what you're trying to prove with that. And this is kind of a question and a response. Another of our students this semester, I forget which undergraduate student, gave her a presentation on Korean typography. Yeah. And in her presentation, I learned a lot of things. One of the things I learned is that there was an emperor in Korea in about 1450, about the time Gutenberg was invented the Korean alphabet. Correct me about this. And the alphabet was very much simplified from Chinese. Very much simpler than Chinese. It seems, it looks that way. And that there weren't as many characters. Many of them, right? Korean is simpler. It even looks simpler for people who don't read Korean or Chinese.
It's an alphabet. It is an alphabet.
Right, it is an alphabet, rather than
Not 5,000
pictorial
characters.
characters. Since you have that very proud heritage of being amongst the first to simplify, the Chinese into an alphabet, it's the same kind of process that these two guys are following, I think, in trying to make new letters. So there's some connection between. On time? Back on time now. Are we? You 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock is good.
This is first two studies for this poster. I found in one book this photograph of dancing couple in the mountains and contrasting between the usual action and environment when it's happening, where it's happening, how it's happening. It was so strange and so powerful. It was a good one for this kind of lecture with my design for the travel plan. And I worked a little bit with that. I changed not the background, but the mountain, the pictures of mountain, image. A person from very undeveloped society, like in where existing economical relation, also everyone exchange is some kind of economic action. So. And actually it was the person who took the egg, the big egg, and I don't know, bird is that, rabbit seems bird. And I tried to put inside, well, with the computer, I tried to put inside the egg the dollars bills, like show this, like it's some kind of exchange, it's money exchange of thing by thing, but it wasn't very three-dimensional volume, three-dimensional piece. It's strange that's possible to use. And so I tried to use it here. There's another version. It's here. And it was the first my idea for this book. And what's happening here? This is I tried to relate some pieces that work together during this process of writing. So this is author, audience, subject, and skills. So it's three pictures that symbolize like four parts of the process that are related by like a chain of text. And because it's actually David Levy, the creator of this assignment too, he told that the editor would like to have something like cutted edge, right? Because it's not clear, something. It's not going to be clear. So I have to create another picture that has about 4 layers of different pictures that came together. And so this is for piece, just the variation for this cover. Actually, the spine are everywhere, more or less. The same. And here I try to give a little bit more information on that. and I tried to use the illustration in the proportion of a regular page, like page of paper that everybody uses. I think that it's maybe, I'm sure that nobody will know about that, but actually it's kind of the proportion is in the eyes and the mind of everybody. So it's clear.
That seems like something that needs to be tweaked
Right.
a bit. I actually find you have a lot of good ideas, and almost too many good ideas. This one particularly, as I said to you before, I love the image. I love the fact that you took the balancing hands. You have a much more suitable image in some of these things than in others. And that learning to find an image that really helps to talk about what you're trying to communicate.
May I add that I think it's good that you said about that. It's really VRF. It's good. It's what's happened now on the planet. This is what this lecture about. So in some way it is, but you just take it absolutely like straight, and in some other. Not level, but in some.
Expecting to hear about self-defense for women, I'd be very disappointed.
The question is really emerging as a political one, whether we can afford to use that metaphor.
Stand back and think, how many different ways can this thing be seen? Because the transmission of image and text from a designer to the public can be interpreted in a lot of different ways, and each receiver is going to receive it differently. But what you want is for, if your idea is that you want a certain percentage of the public to show up and go to the lecture, then a certain amount of transmission has got to get through. You have to deliver enough of the message to enough of the people that they understand it. And so that, to me, is a fascinating image, a nice composition, but it doesn't deliver the message. It wouldn't deliver the message to me unless I already knew it.
But may I ask you a question? If you will see this poster on the street, it will catch your attention, and maybe you'll come, even, for example, you will think that it's about self-defense, and maybe you never hear about Victor Papanek and ecological problems, but you just go through the city in some area, you see this monster, and you look more carefully, and maybe it will be interesting for you, maybe some kind. I mean, it's not even the sexual sin, it's not the real
I think
sin.
what
Yeah, I know, I understand.
That there really
I
was a
understand.
very deeply
But-
sexual metaphor going on there.
Yeah, but it's actually it's dancing.
I
It's
read
not.
it, I read it differently, very often contrary to it reminds me of the Pittsburgh album film, and the scene on the boat, the record player playing, and this absurd opera in the background, going on the whole absurdity of it. I don't see rapists having a record player with them, or both parties dressing up with the best clothing they
The
can.
vast majority of them start as a date.
I don't get that message at all. I'm sorry. First I thought it was romantic, then I thought it was the Holocaust in the background, the contradiction of opposites. But the whole issue he's talking about, I'm saying, really saying that he wants clarity in his images in terms of communication, visual communication, wants clarity in terms of his type-driven messages. And every one of these cases I'm trying to find an appropriate thing that gives me a clear message as to what you're dealing with. And I find it rich with contradictions, magnifico, if you will, with spaces divided for no apparent reason. Really, it's very interruptive. Yeah, you might look at it, but if you look at it and you're drawn to it, as you say, you work with dozens of people, what's the sense of having a confused, ambiguous message when I get there? I like the idea that maybe you have a medieval piece is beautiful, but there are better pieces that there's the beautiful Vermeer of the Woman Weighing Gold, classic piece that everyone knows, that clearly deals with.
Mark?
No, I didn't do model for this because I didn't win. I didn't win, but I love this idea. This idea I love. Yeah. And other things I planned my work for this guy. This way can do this possibility, do this light translation.
Do you know anything about this place he's working for?
Sounds interesting though.
Yeah, here's a guy with a license to steal. He's got 3 mass art students working for him. He's doing the design.
Yeah, and
Greg LaRue, who's competent in CAD, he's doing all the details for him. He's got Juan Carlos, remember Juan?
Yeah.
One color.
This is for last semester design movement dispute. In this class I learned a lot of, and something before that a lot of things are mistaken.
Design
and
history.
design history and we discussion in this class, and so I learned a lot about the dispute. So and I like this style too, you know. And a lot of person before that I don't know. So I first page I this group of famous person, and so last semester I wrote this paper, and this semester I finished this book design. I used the dispute style, use horizontal and vertical, and use square, and use 3 prominent color, the red, black, and yellow. So, and black, color, so this semester.
Need to get up to see that, I think.
What,
People have to see that.
Yeah.
what computer stuff you're working on?
Yeah, I
What do
will
you
show
got?
up for sewing machine. I did
No, I mean on this, what are you using, Macintosh?
Macintosh, yeah.
Where are these coming from?
Where's coming? This
Yeah, you're cutting them out laser,
yeah,
laser
yeah,
cutting?
yeah. Can you come here?
Oh, sure.
This book for this
Folds here, right?
one.
It folds.
Yeah, for here.
These
He teaches the CAD, and then this is a way you can take your CAD files and transfer them over to render and put them in environments, do fly
Oh, I
throughs.
see.
That's so good. I think in your case, you can bypass the CAD and actually just build right in Modeler itself, which is what he's doing at this point. And, later on, I think you might seriously consider getting